Innovations presents
Nebraska's #1 independent computer repair company
with offices in Omaha and Lincoln. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, and Papillion, where we can fix your computer if it's not working right. We can get your power supply replaced if recent events seem to have caused your computer not to boot any longer. We can do it all over at Schrock. Everything from designing websites all the way down to the other end of the spectrum, where we can do corporate services. We can make sure that your network and your IT infrastructure is working good. Over at Schrock, there's really data recovery. I mean, it's amazing. I sat down and thought about it the other day because I was like, there is a ton of things that we never set out to do that were just natural extensions of what we do here. And so one of those, for example, is data recovery. You know, we never said, oh boy, we should really become a data recovery company. But on the other hand, it kind of went hand in hand with what we want to do, what we need to do. So nevertheless, good stuff there. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Those are the numbers to join us on the program. You can ask a question or make a comment, and we'll put you in the drawing. We're going to put you on the drawing. In the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Great audio. Thank you, Winston. Winston, by the way, is listening online at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. The show is live, and not like Jimmy Kimmel Live, where they do it in the afternoon and play it back, like record. It says recorded live, as opposed to recorded not alive. I'm sure it was recorded live at some point. But so the show is actually done live, and then if you miss it or you have something going on or we're talking about something really interesting and you have to go into church, then you can pop on the Facebook did I just say the Facebook? On the Facebook. That's originally when Facebook was first created. That's what it was called. It was called the Facebook. And then they decided that was not cool, so they just went back to Facebook. But you can go on to the Facebook and watch the show there if you missed it. So, all right. I had a mighty adventure this week. Can you get me signed in? Can you see my login screen over there where you are, Mr. Producer? That's all right. I got it. I can't see the callers. Yeah, I couldn't see the callers. Oh, is that because there's no callers? Did I not drop the numbers already? 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Okay, there we go. Now we got it. All right. You can also email questions, Thor, Thor, at SchrockInnovations.com. So, first off, I want to send out a big old community thank you to all of the police officers, firefighters, OPPD power crews, the contractors who are in from out of state working with OPPD, trying to get people's power back online. Fabulous job. Absolutely fabulous professional job on top of everything else like the CWS going on at the same time. These guys are just supermen. So thank you for the work that you're doing. If you're out there today, directing traffic in my neighborhood where the power is still out. We haven't had power since the storm, actually. I live in Papillion, and the tornado, or one of the tornadoes that apparently hit Bellevue, passed blocks from my mother-in-law's house. So they're out of power. And, I try to prepare for things like this. So in my garage, I have a generator and 25 gallons of gasoline because, we have a sump pump. And anyone who has a sump pump in their house knows what happens. If the power goes out, I have a backup battery on my sump pump to keep it running, when it's out for an hour or 2 hours, things like that. Boy, if it goes out for days, you can get a lot of water in the basement. So, we got the generator. The lovely Kimberly and I were actually driving back from Kansas City. We've got some really cool plans for some stuff in the service center, some remodeling, refurnishing kind of stuff. And we were down at IKEA brainstorming some ideas. And we were driving back from Kansas City. We actually drove right through it. We sheltered in a gas station in Rockport, actually, as the tiles were being ripped off the roof. I was standing in the ladies' restroom there, so I'm like, well, this is how it ends, huh? But anyway, we got out of there. We got back home finally. We had a sitter with the kids, and our neighbors came over and helped out with the sitter, making sure that everything was okay. And I'm super proud of my son, Jake. 10-year-old, Cub Scout, now first-year Boy Scout. He was scared. When I came home, that kid hugged me. He was scared. But a scout is brave, right? So he went outside and approached one of the neighbors and said, "What can I do to help?" And they're like, "Oh, Jay, you don't have to do it." He goes, "No, I need to help. What can I do?" Can I, he said, "Well, we're setting up a generator and stuff." And he was like, "Can I bring you the gas?" And they're like, "Sure, you can carry the gas cans around." So, I mean, it was just amazing stuff there. So good things coming from this. So my neighbor starts up, his generator he'd never started it. His father-in-law bought him one. He'd never used it. Didn't have oil in it. Wasn't ready to go. Mine, I fire it up at the springer, but again, trying to be prepared, right? There is a moral to this story. Trying to be prepared. And I start it up in the spring, make sure it's good. The only thing I hadn't done this year is I still had winter gas in my garage. I try to change out the gas every 6 months so that, one, doesn't get old, and two, there's different blends for different seasons. So basically, I have winter gas still. I hadn't dumped it all in my truck when I had a low tank and then taken the cans to the gas station and filled them back up. Because it takes forever to jump 25 gallons through a funnel into a truck tank, let me tell you. Whew. Anyway, so he takes my generator. He says, "Thor, can I use your generator to get our sump pumps going? I'll wire yours up too." "Sure, sounds great. Go for it." So, there's a little bit of gas in the tank because, again, you don't keep a ton in there because if you don't use the generator in the year, you got to run the gas out of the tank, make sure the lines are clean. So you don't want to put a lot in there and store it in the generator. He fires up the generator and it starts right up. Good news. So he turns off the generator, pours a bunch of gas in it, gets everything wired up, and goes to fire up the generator again, goes to pull the starter cord, and there's no tension. Just, ooh. It wasn't loose. The cord was in there and retracting, just the clutch wasn't engaging. No tension on the starter. And that's about all I know about small engine repair. Okay? So that's it. And I'm like, oh, no. So then, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the gas station, get some oil. And he gets his generator up and running, thank the heavens, because now his generator is powering, we're powering like 2 refrigerators, 2 freezers, 2 sump pumps, and 1 or more televisions and Xboxes. Children, But anyway, the bottom line here is I needed help, right? I had not done preventative maintenance on my own equipment. I mean, granted, I did buy the generator off a guy on Craigslist for like half the price it normally would have cost, and he swore he'd never used it. And I fired it up 3 whole times since I bought the thing for like a 5-minute interval. How much preventative maintenance could it possibly need? Well, apparently it needed the carburetor to be stripped down, it needed the oil changed, and of course it needed to have that starter fixed. And I took it, I called a couple places, and there was one place that was like, "Sure, bring it on down." And I read their Facebook reviews, and this is, guys, when I ask you to leave Facebook reviews, Google reviews, the Google reviews that when you do a Google search, people make purchase decisions based on those Google reviews. They're super important. I mean, hugely important, because I chose not to do business with a particular small engine repair company because their Google reviews were, their recent ones, in the past they had 5 stars, their recents were all 1 star. And it was all, being in the service business, I see this, the guy didn't do the job right, and then the guy who took his lawnmower or whatever home said, "I'm not hauling this thing back into you. You come back out here and pick it up. You have a pickup service." And then the shop owner was like, "Oh, sorry, we charge for pickup, so if you want us to pick it up, we're going to charge you." I mean, come on, you screwed up, man. Make it right. But that element was missing. So I ended up taking it over to Small Engine Services Inc. in Ralston, because I figured Ralston was far enough from Papillion that it would have power. And I was wrong. So I pull up to the Small Engine Services Inc. and the door's propped open. And it's kind of like on Main Street, Ralston. And the door's propped open. I'm thinking, oh, he's getting some air circulation. Then I walk in and all the lights are off. And I'm like, oh, no. And the owner comes around the corner with a flashlight in his hand. And it was a weak flashlight, too. He comes in around the corner with a flashlight in his hand. And he says, "Hey, how can I help you?" And I tell him what's going on. And he's like, "Oh, we don't keep a lot of parts for these generators in stock." Okay, well, that's what everyone else told me, too. So, do your best with it, right? I mean, I'm okay for now. My sump pump's running. I'm okay. I don't desperately need this now, but if something would happen to my neighbor's generator and OPPD is telling me that I'm going to be out of power till potentially Wednesday, they're working their butts off, guys. They really are. If you're out of power too and listening somehow in the car, they are working their butts off. They really are. So don't give them too much grief. They're trying hard. But anyway, he says, "I'll see what I can do." And he's open till 4 o'clock. This was yesterday. And so he says, "Okay, what's your name?" And I give him the name, and he looks up at me. He goes, "Love your show." I was like, "Oh, great. This is great. Okay." And so then, I leave, and he calls me that afternoon, like 3 o'clock, says, "Hey, it's ready for pickup." I had him do a whole bunch of preventative maintenance to it because he says, "Hey, while it's in here, do you want us to do, like, the carburetor needs to be torn down and cleaned, and it needs an air filter, it needs an oil change?" And I'm like, what kind how can I get on the radio on Sunday and talk about, things like preventative maintenance on a computer, and then have one of my listeners sitting in his shop saying, that guy's a bag of hot air, So no, okay. Why don't if you can still get it done today, go ahead and do that stuff. And he did. And so then I had this generator, right? And my brother and sister-in-law didn't have power either, and they just bought a whole refrigerator full of groceries the day before this happened. So I had an excess generator that I can always go reclaim if I need it. If my neighbor's generator dies and he's cool, I'm buying the gas for his generator, so he's happy with that, and we're doing good. So I took the generator over to them, and I tell you, first pull, he didn't even have to pull the starter cord all the way out, and that thing just fired up like a dream. So big kudos for a rush job repair at Small Engine Services Inc. in Ralston. And the other thing too is he has a ton of stuff in there, like lawnmowers, edgers, all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, and it's all for sale. So I mean, if you need something like that, I was kicking myself because I'm like, if I ever need something like that again, I'm not going to go to Lowe's. I'm going to go to some guy like Small Engine Services in Ralston and pick up what I need, because it's amazing. I mean, you can make that guy's day in there, because he's just a small business. He's like any other small business, eking it out every day, day by day, and somebody comes in there and buys a piece of equipment, it can make his entire day. So, and I love doing that for small businesses. So thank you very much for the treatment and for the I don't know, just the great service, that the understanding the sense of urgency, overriding standard operating procedures to get it done. Not because I'm me, but because he knew that we had a family counting on that generator. So thank you very much for that. And his power was back on when I came to pick it up too. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. All right, so let's jump into it real quick. We're going to go to Gary on line 1. Gary, how can I help you today on Compute This, Gary?
Hi, good morning, Thor.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking my call, and thanks for the kudos for the small businessman. I have had a Dell computer that I bought in 2005, so I've really been fortunate how long it lasted. It had Windows XP on it. Just recently, I got the final blue screen of death on it, so it's died. Fortunately, a couple of days before, I had backed up the computer on an external hard drive. So now I'm looking for a new computer, haven't decided what kind or what brand. I do think I want Windows 10 on it. Mm-hmm. And my question is, if I go to restore the backup, is it going to wipe out the Windows 10? And all I really need is the documents, I think, is the only thing I really want.
So, Windows XP, did you use the backup software that comes with XP?
Yeah, the one that's on the system tools.
Okay, so that's a file backup. So there's a couple potential issues with that. Number one, that file backup software is not present on any computer after Windows XP. So you may not be able to restore from that if it put it into like a compressed file or something.
It is.
Okay, yeah. So you're probably not going to be able to restore from that at all. So what we're going to want to do instead, I mean, there may be a way to do it. If we Google it and find, hey, here's the tool, we can install it on the computer and we can jimmy rig it to make it run with Windows 10 so we can get this back, great. Otherwise, you might have to do that data transfer again. Just because you got a blue screen doesn't mean your hard drive is bad. So even if the computer won't boot, 9 times out of 10 the hard drive is still fine. You just got to hook it up and then do a transfer again, and you can literally hook the hard drive up to the new computer using either a USB adapter that you can get really inexpensively, or if you have a SATA-based hard drive, because some of the older Windows XP computers actually had the first generation serial ATA interface. You can plug that right into the new computer's main board, assuming there's a port available for that, and transfer the data directly from the hard drive. So there's still some options to do it, but I wouldn't sweat too much on the backup because I'm not sure you're going to be able to restore that backup anyway.
Okay.
Now, as far as transferring the data, I know you said you haven't decided what brand you want to go with or anything like that. Of course, I might be a little bit biased. Schrock Innovations modular computers are pretty flippin' awesome. But, the thing is, here's what I would avoid. Try to stay away from the $500-600 HPs if you're looking at desktops. They have no power supply, and they have no additional ports. You wouldn't be able to hook up your hard drive inside to do your data transfer. You could still use a USB cable, so it's not the end of the world, but you wouldn't be able to hook anything else up inside or ever add memory or change the processor or do anything like that. So that's one thing to kind of keep in mind.
Okay. Sounds like I probably want to come out to the Village Point store.
Well, either one. Papillion can help you out, too. Either one of them.
Yeah, I am closest to the Village Point one, so okay. Well, I should appreciate the answer because I didn't know for sure. So
no sweat, Gary. No sweat. That's what we're here for. And today the service centers are open from noon to 5, so you can pop in anytime between noon and 5. We'd be happy to get that going. Custom computers do take a little bit of time to get built for you if you decide to go with a Schrock modular system. It does take 14 business days, which is about 3 weeks, to get those built for you. So basically, and then when Papillion doesn't have power and things like that, it can be a little bit longer. The Papillion Service Center is back up and running, by the way. We were down for about a day and a half in there. But the phones, we got power back, but we didn't have phones. And then we got phones back and didn't have power. And then we didn't have phones or power. And then now we have it all. So we're back. But the good news is because it was like a ghost town in there yesterday when we didn't have phones, but we had power, Dylan was able to come in there and clear the bench. So whether you're going into Papillion, Omaha, also over half of its bench spots are open right now. This time of year, between Papillion and Omaha, we have 65 bench spots. So to have, 40 of the 65 open, that doesn't happen very often. This is our slow time of year. This is when, for computer repair, things slow down a little bit. Now, what's going to start happening is as people's power comes back on, and a lot of people already have their power back, when they get around to firing up their computers and trying to check on things, some of their computers aren't going to boot. Some of them are going to realize their hard drives are bad. I've seen an uptick in drive advisor detections for bad hard drives recently. In fact, I've seen 3 or 4 Schrock customers end up with hard drives that are starting to fail. One of the things... and I don't mean to turn this into a drive. Thank you for the call, Gary. I don't mean to turn this into a Drive Advisor commercial because it's a free program. They don't really pay us for commercials, But we made it, so we should probably promote it. Drive Advisor is a product that you can get at Drive Advisor, Drive Advisor, because it's American. DriveAdvisor.com, and it's free. You install it on your computer, and it'll ask you for your email address. And you type in your email address and you hit OK. The only thing it ever does with that email address is sends you emails to tell you if your hard drive is bad. So, and it'll blink down in the corner too if your hard drive goes bad. But eventually that'll become a hidden icon and you'll never see it. And you can drag it out of there, but no one ever does. I do it habitually for people when they're in the shop. I drag all their hidden icons like here's your antivirus, here's your secure updater, and here's your Drive Advisor. They're all visible now. Permanently visible. That way if your secure updater is red, you know it. If your Drive Advisor is blinking, then you know it because you can see it. But it'll send you an email. And then that way when you get the email, you can say, oh my gosh, my hard drive has dropped from 100% to 99%. The funny thing is we've had 3 hard drives in the last 48 hours drop to 99% for Schrock customers. And, they haven't come in. I know they have power because otherwise Drive Advisor wouldn't be working. But they're not coming in for a hard drive replacement. And, we don't call you and bug you about it because that's not the point. The point is, we're trying to see how do people react when their hard drives start to fail. And unfortunately, the pattern that we're seeing is when people's hard drives start to fail, they don't react when they start to fail. Because 99% is not so bad, right? Not so bad. 98% is not too bad. When does it get bad? Is it like, 70%, 50%? When a drive goes from 100% to 99%, it has technically failed. It's had a heart attack. It needs to be replaced. The thing is, the reason Drive Advisor exists is to keep you out of my data recovery lab. I know that sounds counterproductive. Maybe it is. I don't know. But that's how Schrock has made a reputation for itself over the years, trying to tell you to do the things that keep you away from expensive repairs, like preventative maintenance on a generator, that keeps me away. Although, I have to say, the small engine repair services in Ralston, it's like $100 to get it fixed and maintenance. Come on, you can't beat that. For an engine repair, come on. Anyway, the bottom line here is you want to make sure if you have Drive Advisor, if you don't have Drive Advisor, install it. DriveAdvisor.com, DriveAdvisor.com, download it and install it. You have to install it. And then once it's installed on your computer, it'll tell you the health of your hard drive, not to mention all of your backup drives. No one ever tests their backup drives. And sure enough, we've had customers come in with a bad hard drive. They bring their backup in and say, restore my backup. And we're able to restore it. We had one in Papillion a couple of weeks ago where we restored his backup, but we found out his we plugged it into the computer to restore it. Drive Advisor popped up and said it was bad. It was at like 98%. We're like, oh, your backup drive is dying. So imagine that if his main hard drive would have died and his backup. Oh, my goodness. So, Thomas on Facebook just commented, I just found out that yet another of my archive drives is starting to go. Grrr. And so what we did for the customer in Papillion is he had a spot in his computer, and his computer was on the bench. Rather than making him go buy a bunch of external hard drives, we just installed another internal hard drive. That's why when I was talking to Gary, I said, don't go for the HP all-in-one or the HP, with no power supply in it, because you can't do things like that. There's no power for it. There's no ports for it. But in this computer, it was one of our builds. So we were able to put another hard drive in it. We were able to wire it up, and we were able to set that as the backup drive. Now he has 2 internal drives, and internal drives are the safest place to store your data. Going back to the days of yesteryear, if you plot the evolutionary chart of data storage, you will see the hard drive in the computer is where people feel like they lose their files. Like, I saved it in there somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it's in that jumbley thing somewhere. But if I have it on a floppy disk, oh yeah, I've got it in my hand. I know where this data is at. It's in my hand. It's in my pocket. That's true, and it has a 1 in 25 chance of failing every time you access the darn thing. But hey, that's a floppy drive. So the safest place for your data is inside the computer, even though you kind of feel safer if you can point at an external hard drive and say, I know it's on that drive. The safest place is inside a computer, so put it in, we can put a drive right into your computer and save it right on there for you. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Jeffrey on Facebook writes, being from another area, I don't know what caused the massive power failure. What happened? All right, so Jeffrey, here's what's going on. This is why you can't buy ice anywhere in Sarpy County right now, by the way. The Hy-Vee on 72nd is out of ice this morning. They have not been restocked. That was confirmed by my coffee run this morning. They had 3 people in the time it took me to fill a cup of coffee come in looking for ice, and they are out. However, here's what happened. Basically, there was a big storm that blew through. Papillion didn't get hit by a tornado, but it did get hit with 125-mile-an-hour straight-line winds. I have my buddy over at Excel Roofing over at the house. I'm going to get a new roof from this. It literally tore chunks of my roof off. It was 125 miles an hour straight at you. It gets under an edge of a shingle and just peeled my shingles on my crown back by like a zipper, just right back off. So basically, Papillion got hit with 125-mile-an-hour straight-line winds. You know those high-tension power lines? The big, like, there's metal ones, and then they do a lot of wooden ones, and then there's a metal one, and there's a whole bunch of wood ones. They look like the letter H, 2 wooden poles that go up, and then there's 2 cross members, like one in the middle and one on the top, and they have all the high-tension lines on it. Well, basically, one of those high-tension power poles snapped like 2 toothpicks and went down, and then it snapped the wires off all the high-tension ones going for a mile in each direction, and it actually pulled over one of the metal poles on top of it. There are high tension lines across. There were high tension lines laying on the ground across Highway 370. On the way back from Kansas City, we unknowingly drove over a live high tension wire. That's an experience I never want to have again. They sing when you drive over them, kind of like you drove over a guitar string. It's like, and you can hear it in the vehicle. It's the worst sound. Oh my gosh! Don't touch anything metal, kids. Yeah, it's bad. And they closed the road right after that because the power lines had just come down because, hey, there were 3 tornadoes around us and we had no idea because the straight line winds metastasized into a confirmed EF0 tornado that hit just off of, a little bit south of 25th and Highway 370 in Bellevue. And if you look on Facebook, there are pictures of the damage. There are people whose entire second floor of their house it's gone. The roof is gone. The walls are gone. There's just you can see the carpeted floor. It looks like they have a carpeted floor for a roof. That's the floor of their second floor of their house. So there was some serious damage. Luckily, I don't think there was any loss of life. So that's a blessing in itself. But basically, the power went out because the winds knocked the trees, and the trees knocked the wires, and the wires fell down, and zap, zap, zert, zert, and everything went down. OPPD has a kind of a co-op set up with neighboring power districts. And they called for backup, and they sent everybody in. So we have people in town right now that are doing everything they can to restore power that aren't even from our community. So if you see somebody out working on power and stuff, or a police officer directing traffic because a traffic light's down today, just take a moment to wave at them and say thank you, because literally, I don't know what's going on. People are just frustrated, I guess. I was driving down the road, and there was a motorcycle and a car behind it, and the motorcycle was driving, and it was like the lady in the car thought he wasn't going fast enough. So she honked at him, and he turned around and flipped her off, and then he slow rolled her. They're going to 5 miles an hour in front of her and kept flipping her off over and over again while she kept honking. And then he looks over at me as I drive by in the right lane, and he shrugs his shoulders. I don't know what her problem is. And I just shake my head. I'm like, come on, dude. You're giving guys on motorcycles a bad name. You know, this is why people hit you. I shouldn't say things like that because there was a couple motorcycle deaths last week, but tongue in cheek, of course. But the bottom line is just have some patience. Have an enormous amount of patience. And if you see somebody working on the power doing something, you know, give them a thumbs up or a thank you or something like that, or you know, buy them a Coke at the gas station or something. It's a thankless job. If you've ever had to direct traffic. I parked CWS cars for many years for the Deer Park Neighborhood Association when I lived down there, and that's a thankless job. Everybody's mad at you. Everybody wants to get where they're going. Everybody's sunburned. Everybody's drunk. Everybody's grumpy. Just chill and have some patience, and it's good to go. So that's what happened. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. We're just going to roll to the bottom of the hour. I blew past the 20 break a while ago. Let's go to Gene. Your call is next. Gene, how can I help you today on Compute This?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I just want to say I've been a customer for a long time and really, really appreciate your company and the honesty, and I just always get real good help. So I have another question for you.
Well, thank you. Absolutely.
When I go into, let's say, the people icon, which lists your contacts,
Okay.
that appears okay.
All right.
However, when I go in to send an email, let's say I'm going to say to, and I'll hit A for Adam. Adam will probably come up. However, under A, I have a lot of names that I've never put in there. One of them is Asian women, and so you kind of know what that's about. And
actually, I have no idea. What are you insinuating, Gene?
And
Are you Asian? No.
For a while, I was able to go in and X them out and delete them.
Right.
It's no longer allowing me to do that. And I did have my maintenance checkup, I'm guessing 4 to 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I did bring that to the attention of the young man that was helping me, because I also was getting a lot of junk mail at that time. And this is not a criticism of him. I don't mean it that way. But he kind of shrugged and he said, well, everybody gets a lot of junk mail. And then at that time, I could go in under, again, let's say Asian women, and I could delete it with an X. I no longer can do that, and I still have more names coming in.
Oh, boy, that's not good. All right, so
No.
First question. Are you the only one using the computer in your home?
Yes.
Okay, so we know it's nobody else then. I hate to say you got to cover those things because, you know, I don't know anything about Asian women, but, you know.
I don't click on it either. It's just,
I had a buddy once, you know, one of those things. Okay, so basically what you're talking about, what program do you use for your email?
You guys installed Windows 10 for us when it first came out, and I'm on...
the Mail app in Windows 10?
It's Hotmail. My comes in under hotmail.com with my name.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's a couple possibilities here. You know, the fact that you can delete it means it's probably not an autocomplete. Sometimes, you know, there'll be an autocomplete in there, but they shouldn't autocomplete people's email addresses. So if you're when you're typing in, let's say you're typing A and it pops up Asian women, does it pop up an email address or does it pop up just like Asian space women?
It will pop up. It will not put the name up under 2, but it will list underneath the A's. Asian women will come up.
But
like for instance,
it's just the words, though. It's not an email address like AsianWoman4297@hotmail.com.
No,
okay.
No. And on my junk mail, when I go to block those, a lot of times I can see where people have attached their whatever email address and mine.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, for example, there's no point in marking those as junk. You can in Hotmail, and Hotmail appreciates it because it infinitesimally reduces the amount of spam that goes through their network. But yeah, it's not doing a whole lot of good. And then the worst part about the Hotmail junk filter is if I send you an email on Hotmail, because people use the junk mail filter to unsubscribe from mailing lists. And so like when I send one now, like if enough Hotmail users just click junk, then what ends up happening is every Hotmail address I send to goes to junk automatically. And so when we send out something like a maintenance checkup alert or something like that, you know, then people don't get it. But anyway, it sounds like what's happening is as you're typing, it's doing it. It's called autocomplete. It's auto-completing the field. The fact that you've never searched for Asian women before tells me that this is not something that's auto-completing from your computer locally, that it's auto-completing from the Hotmail servers. So I'm almost wondering, I haven't used the Hotmail page, which I think is now called Outlook.com, in years.
Yeah, that's what I use.
So what I'm going to try to log into this real quick. So let's take a break here real quick. Hang on the line, Gene. I'm going to log into mine, and I'm going to try to type an email address in and see if it auto-completes Asian women for me. All right, sounds good. Stay on the line. We're going to take a quick break. More Compute This coming up next.
Schrock Innovations web design team is staffed by professional business consultants, photographers, artists, and coders. Don't let your slow web guys cost your business money. Call 934-9.
This here real quick. Welcome to the Facebook feed, by the way. I got to work during this break, though, so sit tight for a second.
You want an extra spot?
Yes, please. All right, we are logging in to my live.com account, and now it's going to outlook.com, which is different from main Outlook. And I'm going to say new mail, and I'm going to say 2A. All right. Yes, I know, it's new, it's a smarter inbox. Okay. Huh. I don't get Asian women. I don't know. But what I am seeing here is it's bringing up apparently ancient stuff from other mail providers. So that could be some autocomplete going on there. So yeah, boy, I'll have to have her bring it in so we can look at it. But it looks like it could be bringing in stuff from her phone. So we'll see that. Or somebody else's phone that's associated with the account. But again, color me weird, but Jean doesn't sound like the kind of person that's searching for Asian women online. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, Sai, that's what I'm thinking. That it might be cached in the contacts, but it's not coming from it's not an email address. Like everything that auto-completed on mine was an email address. And she's just getting the words Asian women. So, this is one of the things where sometimes how somebody uses a program can make a difference in how it functions. So if she's typing in something weird into but she wouldn't have ever typed Asian women. That's what I don't get. So it's almost like it's if it was cached, she would have had to type it at some point. And we can't discount the possibility that somebody else used her computer at some point. But she said that's not the case. So yeah, thanks about the shirt. It's not purple. Today is actually navy blue, Brian. But it was dark in my closet this morning, and I realized of all the stupidness, I don't own a purple polo. So this is like me. Do you think I can pull it off? You think I can pull off the royal purple polo? Because this is navy blue. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Let me think. What else is going on? Mike Power has been out at home, so I've been keeping up on the news and stuff of the week on my phone. But how about Amazon buying Whole Foods? Huh? We're going to get automated drone grocery store now. The employees of Whole Foods are afraid of automation because they think that Amazon's going to get rid of them. I didn't realize Whole Foods had that many employees. All right, here we go, guys. We're coming right back. Eventually. Oh, you really meant that?
Yeah.
All right, he really meant we weren't coming back right now. All right, so let's see. We've got Amazon Whole Foods purchased could solve the grocery chore supply chain puzzle. Can you turn down the studio speaker a little bit? Thank you. All right, business reality versus... Yeah, I have to go through so much stuff. Oh, hey, I've had a lot of questions about Norton Core. Don't let me forget to talk about that in a comment or something. The Norton Core, they're trying to sell you wireless routers now, which is kind of funny. But it's not. I don't recommend it, but we'll talk about that because I've gotten a few questions about that throughout the last week. Let's see. Facebook has an artificial intelligence-driven effort to fight terrorism. Yay. Let's see. CIA has been hacking into Wi-Fi routers for years. Oh, good for them. They're not supposed to hack into US-based Wi-Fi routers, so if they're hacking into other people's Wi-Fi routers in other countries, I guess I really don't care. Let's see. Oh, I've been living on these Anker backup batteries, ANKER. Man, they just came out with a new one that's 26,800 milliamps.
Oh, that's like multiple iPad charges right there. So that would be a godsend right now. I got 3 batteries I'm rotating right now on a solar charger and a generator, of course, now. All right, now we're coming back, guys.
Guys, sabotage. That's what happened to the power in Omaha. It's a terrorist windstorm. Can't stand it. I know they planned it. All right, welcome back in, guys. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, where we fix computers, replacing power supplies that aren't working right, fixing hard drives that go bad, data recovery services. And the guys at Schrock Interactive have been crazy busy designing sites the last couple weeks here. We got a new site in the pot for the Lincoln Independent Business Association. So that one that's going to be awesome when that one gets done. We got that going. We have we're getting some quotes out for a pet store. We're doing a bid right now for the company that built the Ronald Reagan Missile Interceptor battery. Yeah, cool stuff. And they're all here in Omaha. Can you believe that? So that. I'm just saying, I mean, we got some cool clients, some really cool clients. So if your business is looking for a website, looking to update the presence that you have, give us a call over at Schrock Interactive, and we'd be happy to take a look. All right, Gene, are you still with me?
I am.
All right, thanks for holding on the line there, Gene. During the break there, I was working. I logged into my Hotmail, now it's Outlook.com account, and I typed in A, and it brought up a bunch of email addresses. Then I typed in S, and it narrowed those email addresses down by email addresses that were AS, but everything in my autocomplete was an email address. Everything was. So I'm not entirely certain how you're going to Outlook.live.com is where you end up, and you're clicking on the plus sign, the plus new, to create a new email.
Yeah, I let's say I want to send one to somebody called Casey. I'll just go in where it says to, and I put my C in there, and then the C names will come up.
Okay.
And I'll click on Casey, and that'll show up there, and I can send my email.
Okay, so when I type in C, I get a guy named Craig, and it says his name, and then underneath it says Craig292 at whatever.com. Is that what you're seeing? Except it says Asian women, and below it there's an email address.
The email address will not under the Asian women. The email, I can never send an email to Asian women. They are coming in under my names.
Gotcha.
And besides that, I mean, I can pull up J, and I've got a lot of names there. I've never heard of these people.
Yeah, gotcha. So, all right. So basically, the only thing that I can think of as a possibility here is that this is pulling in something from a phone or someplace like that has a contact list. Because I noticed when I I haven't used mine in years, and I started typing in there were people that I never emailed from my Hotmail account before, but that I had, it was like at some point I may have merged my Google account with it or something, because people that I typed in on my phone, so I'm not saying you have a contact on your phone for Asian women, but I noticed also there are groups in there. Like at one point I created a group called Coworkers that had all my coworkers in it. So it's possible that there could be a group in your address book that's called that. So I'm trying to see in here now how we get directly into the address book. So we go down to people on the bottom of the screen in the left-hand corner. Are you following along with your computer right now, or?
No, I'm not. In fact, I'm on my cell phone, so I'm probably going to, unfortunately, have to hang up.
No, that's all right.
Is it
so I went
anything that I can?
I went down to the bottom left of the screen and clicked on the people icon.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of options here. There's contacts, agent registry contacts, Skype contacts. So if you've ever used Skype before, Skype is kind of weird like that. You can get a request from somebody, you accept it, and then they change their name. So you could get someone.
I've never put in groups, and I've never used Skype.
My goodness, you are a difficult cookie. Here I am coming up with all these possibilities that I hadn't thought of.
I know, and you're
just
doing
now.
wonderfully.
You're
doing wonderfully.
Yeah. All right, so I click on my contacts here, and my contacts, a whole bunch of them says name isn't available, because everybody I've ever emailed on Craigslist about anything gets stuck in here, which is just joyful. Yeah, boy, and then I've got a group called Work Contacts. Okay, so at some point, somehow, what I'd like you to do is click on people, click on contacts, Go through your contacts. See if you can find Asian women in there. It'll probably be a group.
No, I did it. I did it last night, and it's not there.
Ah, wow. You've officially radio stumped me. So I have no idea why mysterious Asian women appear in your email. Now,
yeah, I've got it.
when
In
you're
fact,
sending
I
email.
can pull up probably S and then SI, like 2, and I'm going to send it. Let's say because I'm trying to find out how come so many names are in there, and so if I put SI, I might get something will pull up there that I've never ever put in my. It will not show under people, but
Gotcha.
it will under when I want to send an email.
Okay, so that's an autocomplete. So what I would do is, what browser are you using right now? When you go check your email, you're probably using Edge or Firefox or Chrome.
Edge.
Okay.
I'm actually using everything that Schrock put in there for me.
Okay, no sweat.
I'm not that computer knowledgeable.
So what I would do with Edge then is I would do a reset of the Edge browser. So if you click on the control panel up in the top right corner, you can reset Edge. That will blast out the autocompletes. It'll blast everything. All the saved passwords, reset the whole browser. And then approach it again and see if the Asian women come back. And if they do come back, then, I mean, you have a serious problem with Asian women. No, then we'll dig into it deeper. But let's reset the browser and see, because it sounds like an autocomplete, but I know you've never typed it in before, and it shouldn't autocomplete things you've never typed in before. And you're the only one using the computer, so it's not like, some unnamed person has come around and, typed in Asian women or something. So,
but now, thanks very much.
No sweat. Thank you for the call, Gene. I'm sorry I couldn't directly solve it for you. We came up with a lot of possibilities, but we didn't get to a solution. But reset that browser, and if it's still doing that after you reset the browser, let us take a look at a Schrock desk and see if we can't get it resolved for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next up on the line we have Blaine. Blaine, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This?
All right, thank you. I'm calling from the Ozarks.
Oh, wow. Thanks for listening.
You bet. I just got a drive advisor warning, so I boxed it up and sent it to you Monday morning.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. So was it your C drive that was failing?
That's what it said. Was it 94%?
Oh, golly. Yeah, that's getting bad. Well, when you get down to about 80%, you're going to notice weird stuff like blue screens and things. And when you get down to in the 50s, you're going to notice like files disappearing, and it gets to the point where we can't clone the drive anymore. At 94%, we can usually still clone your drive, which is really handy. That means we take your hard drive and we literally Xerox copy it onto a clean hard drive, and we put it back in, and it's exactly like it was before. There's nothing missing, no problems. Even your Asian women autocomplete fields are still there.
Okay.
I can't let content like that just go. I mean, it's good stuff.
Well, anyway, what I actually called about is I have a Verizon hotspot with a 10. It's supposedly unlimited, but at 10 gigabytes, it drops me from 4 to 3.
Okay.
And for that to work, I've got to turn all my. I've got the main computer, which is in the box on the way to you right now. I've got 2 tablets. Turned mine off already.
Yep.
2 phones. We've got both of those turned off, and you have to do all that just to get the computer to work.
Right.
And put that in a box and gone. My tablet turned off. My phone turned off. My wife's phone turned off. We're still racking up hours on the. And I don't get it. Why? What causes the issue?
Okay, so metered data is kind of a bear because they meter everything going in and out of the device. And so you're still going to get data. It shouldn't be significant, but basically whenever you have a modem turned on, like the hotspot turned on, the only way to stop it from sending and receiving data is to power it down. Because people on the internet are constantly it's called port scanning. What they do is they just start hosing IP addresses, sending little pings back and forth. And if your modem answers with a positive ping, then they say, okay, there's a device listening at that IP address. Now let's go and see if there are any open ports at that IP address. Oh, here's all the ports, port 1 through 6,000, and all these ports are open. Let's see if there's any devices listening at these individual ports. Oh, look. A wireless router. Oh, look, a phone system. Oh, look, we can hack into all this stuff. And a lot of people think that, there's these sweatshops of people in other countries sitting there, doing this manually. This is all automated. And so you're going to get if you ever, people have asked me the same question. If you look at your cable modem, so like the power's out in my house, right? But I have a special backup battery just for my comms gear, right? So my cable modem and my wireless router, boom, stays up when the power's down. Yeah, I love it. But no other devices in my house are on, right? The phones are all dead. The tablets are all dead. And yet my activity light on my modem is blink, 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 blink. Because people are pinging my modem. They're hitting my modem and seeing if it's listening. So there's always going to be a small, that's a very small drain on your data. But the other possibility is you didn't happen to ever give a neighbor or somebody your Wi-Fi password, did you?
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know up in the Ozarks, a neighbor's a neighbor. You got to count on your neighbors. But, there's usually some distance between the neighbors up there, too, or down there, too. So, but basically, the reason why, now, when you say it's using excessive resources, do you mean data or do you mean the speed of the connection?
Data.
Okay. So basically, the reason it's a problem for everybody listening who doesn't have a Cox connection or a Verizon connection, when you have a metered internet connection, a metered connection means you can only do so much downloading per month, and then after that you have to pay a fee for additional downloading. And you can rack up hundreds of dollars in add-on charges. In fact, we're redesigning the Secure Updater client right now to have a metered connection feature. So if you're on a metered connection, it will advise you there's an update, but it won't automatically download it. And I looked at Adam. I'm like, Adam, Secure Updater is a program designed to automatically and silently download updates immediately when they're needed. Why on earth would we give users a switch that allows them to turn off the core functionality of why they have Secure Updater? And he just looked back at me and he said, well, because it's the 29th of the month and the data cap rolls over tomorrow and I'm already over my cap and I don't want to download a bunch of Java today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm like, oh, that's wise. I can see it. He goes, it'll still pop up and tell you need to do them. It just gives you the choice of when to do it. I'm like, okay, I can live with that. So basically what's going on is there's two simple solutions. Number one, something is hitting your device still. Inside the house, there's something still turned on, a cell phone, something still turned on. One thing to keep in mind is if you have an Android phone, I don't know if Apple phones do this, but I know Android phones do. If your cell phone signal drops, your Android phone will actually reactivate your disabled Wi-Fi and join the Wi-Fi network until the cell signal comes back, and then it'll deactivate your Wi-Fi again. So you can turn that off in the settings of the phone in the connection settings, but it's possible you could have Android devices, if they're powered on, that are dropping their cellular connections and then spontaneously turning on the Wi-Fi connections too. So that could be part of what's going on too. But yeah, how much data are we talking about?
Well, 10 gig is when it switches me from 4 to 3.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically when you hit your data cap, they throttle you. They drop you to 3G speed, which is pretty much unusable for internet. It's hard to do that on a cell phone, let alone a computer, especially when you have something like Patch Tuesday coming up. Today is the 18th, so we have about 3 weeks until Patch Tuesday at this point. But what they see, Patch Tuesday was it's the second Tuesday of every month, which would have been the 13th. And that's when your computer is going to take 40% of your internet connection and use it to download the Creators Update, which is a huge, huge, huge update, which is going to push everybody over their data caps. So yeah, it's a fun life. But yeah, so there's got to be something using the data, or there's somebody pinging what your modem, your Verizon modem. Thank you very much for the call, Blaine. I appreciate it. I do have you in the drawing for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate because it's as good as cash in the shop, and you have a computer on the way. Well, heck, you might get lucky and get to use it. Thank you for the call, and I appreciate you listening all the way from the Ozarks. All right, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Got to take a quick break. Bob and George, your calls are coming up next on Compute This.
Did you know that your computer needs a tune-up every 6 months to maintain its speed and reliability? Let Schrock Innovations tune up your PC fast and fix small problems before they stop your PC in its tracks.
Welcome to Schrock Innovations. How can I help you today?
I'm having a problem with my computer.
You're at the right place. We fix problems.
Oh, no. Yeah, we got a call in Omaha yesterday, in the Omaha shop, from a customer who went to Papillion and this is what I'm talking about. People are just angry because the power's out, right? So he goes to the Papillion store and he walks up to the door and there's no power in the entire corner. Like Hy-Vee is down, everybody's down. And the door's locked because what's a computer guy supposed to do in a computer repair service center that has no power and no internet? well, what are you going to do? So I closed Papillion and sent Dylan over to Omaha to help out because there was work there and they had power and internet. So then he calls Omaha all mad because, oh, the lights are on in there and no one's answering the door and the door's locked. And I'm like, on my phone, like checking the automated systems at Papillion to see if they're reporting if they're online, and they're not. So their power is still out, and there's nobody there because I know Dylan's not there, and he didn't leave the lights on because there's no power. So I'm like, I have no idea what this guy's deal is, but he's really, really mad. And then, of course, we got power back, and we sent Dylan back over. But, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we are going to be moving Papillion. Leslie just called in and left a message. She wants me to ask this or answer this question on the air. So we're going to talk about Papillion. I have to be a little cagey about where we're moving because we haven't signed the lease yet, and there are still some negotiations going on. We still have a couple options. We have a favorite, but we have a couple options. But it wouldn't do me any good to tell the favorite who the favorite is. You know what I mean? So, all right, we're going to get going back into the program here. If you have a moment, guys, I really appreciate it. A few of you did this last week, and it means the world to me. If you could pop onto Google and do a review of Schrock Innovations just to let us know that we're doing a great job and let everybody else know that we're a 5-star company, I'd really appreciate it. And if you can't do a 5-star, let me know why, and I'll make it right. Coming back, guys.
This, the power-free edition of Compute This, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. All right. It's really weird how you can get used to the sound of generators. You know, it's like every other house on my block has a generator going, and it's like this subtle background hum, and you realize it's kind of what the air conditioners sound like. When you get all of them running, it sounds about the same as like every other house running a generator. So, but just no air conditioning. But luckily, it's a beautiful, beautiful day today for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We do hard work. Yeah, we do. My wife asked me, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And I'm like, nothing. She's like, what? She's like, well, we got to do something. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to lay on the couch. I don't want to have kids jumping on me. I don't want to do nothing. She's like, well, that can't happen. I'm like, I know. It's a nice bracket, end fantasy, coding joke. But all right, let's jump back into the phones here. Bob, welcome to the program. Bob, how can I help you today on Compute This?
Hi, Thor. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thor, I just wanted to tell you, a few months ago, first of all, I'm a senior citizen, and a few months ago I had to replace my computer. Went from Windows Vista to Windows 10.
Nice move.
And I brought my both new and old computer to your Village Point store, and I could not believe how well I was treated. I was surprised that the guys made my computer screen look exactly like it did before. I was afraid I was going to lose all my icons, and when I turned on my computer that my screen would look so different I wouldn't be able to go find anything. And I was shocked. It looked exactly the same as my old computer. And when I had some problems, I didn't understand things, or they weren't set up to how I was familiar using, I had to call the guys 3-4 times in probably 3 days, and I couldn't believe how compassionate they were. And I told them right off the bat, hey, I'm a senior citizen, I'm pretty computer ignorant, so please help me. And they were just super. I can't say enough about what a great job they did and how nice they were to me.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for the call, Bob. I really appreciate it. It's interesting. The lovely Kimberly hasn't been in the service centers for a little while because, we have kids and stuff now. It's not like the good old days where, we were telling the staff stories about how, we'd have a maintenance checkup sale and we'd go in there together and we would take shifts and like one of us would sleep on the floor while the other one was maintenance and computers, because back in those days we had a 700 square foot service center in Lincoln and the computers were like stacked to the ceiling because there's no place to put them.
Yeah.
And it was like we just had to get them out as quick as we could. And we were back, it was just ridiculous. But so now we have kids and family and everything and all these other things going on. So we hired a sitter because one of the things, the lovely Kimberly is amazing at making things look beautiful. So I'll tell you, Bob, if you haven't regaled yourself of the bathroom art yet and the new bathroom art in the Omaha Service Center,
yeah, no, I haven't.
I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's not Asian women, okay? But if you go in there, you're gonna it's pretty cool stuff. Like the guys went in there and they're like, great, Kim, you gave them a reason to hang out in the bathroom even longer. But no, it's really cool. And those are the kind of touches that she's really good at. That she makes things look beautiful.
Yeah.
And I go in and I see service every day. I go in, my guys go in, they see it every day. And then the lovely Kimberly comes in and she pulls me aside and she's like, Thor, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm doing data recovery. And she says, no, what's going on here? Like, I haven't seen anybody carry a computer out for anybody. That your employees are asking people if they want their computer carried out. What happened? What happened to our service?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's awesome to get a call from you, Bob, because you're like, this is amazing. I can't believe I was treated so well. And like, I wasn't kicked in the groin or anything, And then, then on the other hand, I'm thinking, I had a meeting with my operations manager and I said, these are little touches. Like when Summer on the front desk, little Summer asks, the big burly customer, would you like me to carry your computer out for you? Oh, no, ma'am. No, thank you. I've got it. Oh, sweet mother of hernia, and they carry it out the door and they back into the door so they don't have to push it open with their not so free hand. And I'm like, don't ask them, Summer. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just get up and do it. She was like, you just mean desktops, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not the weight of the computer. It's the fact. And then if they tell you no, if they insist on it, then you say, well, let me get the door for you anyway. Yeah. And then you go get the door. But thank you very much, Bob, for the call. I really appreciate it. My staff appreciates it, and I'll pass the words on.
And thank you.
Oh, no problem. This is what we do.
Okay, bye-bye.
All righty. George, let's take George real quick. George, thanks for staying on the line there. How can I help you today?
I got an Outlook email.
Okay.
And that password got in there automatically.
Okay, it saved your password, so it logs you in when you just click login and you want to have the password gone?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that for you. All right, so basically what you want to do is, the easiest way to do that is in your browser, go ahead and if you go into the settings, you can either reset the whole browser if you want, or you can just clear the saved passwords. You can click a button and it'll clear all of them. Give us a call in the service center. That's something I can step you through in just a couple minutes in there. We're open today from noon until 5, so give us a call in there. I'm running up against the clock here, so I don't have a ton of time left, or I do it right here on the air for you. Leslie wrote in or called in and asked, when are we moving Papillion and where? I can't say where yet because we're still under negotiations. We got a couple options. One of them's a favorite, but we haven't signed the lease yet, so it wouldn't do me much good to tell people where I want to go before I sign the lease. But the Papillions, our lease in our existing location expires in December. We are targeting October for a potential grand opening date, and of course, there'll be festivities. October, around the time of the brand new holiday special with brand new Ryzen processors and chips and whatnot. Interesting. All right. Today's winner is Gene. Congratulations, Gene. You got yourself a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. And stay tuned on Facebook.com for the After Schrock Show. More coming up next. We'll be back again next week for another edition of Compute This.
This is Nebraska's news, weather, and traffic station. This is News Radio 1110, KFAB.
And I can't hear you, but I can see what you type. So if you have questions, comments, things like that you'd like me to answer that may or may not be appropriate for general on-air consumption, this is the place to do it. All right. No, we seriously had this meeting in the service center with my operations manager about just stupid little stuff. Like, nobody really notices. I was talking to Summer, and she was completely like, I don't understand why I should have to carry stuff out. Like, what if I have a call on hold? I'm like, well, you have 2 other people. They can get the phone. Okay. But I'm like, all right. Have you ever seen a TV commercial for a computer repair store? And she just looks at me like, I don't watch TV. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so flippin' old. Okay, well, when they used to run these things called commercials on television, this thing that came through the air to your TV or maybe through a wire, the only way that a computer repair shop could show great service is either a big smile and a handshake, good job, or you'd see the trademark carrying the tower out and putting it in the trunk of the customer's car. That's the only 2 things that a computer repair shop can do to say, hey, we have great service, right? So, Summer, do it. It's like, you're the boss, all right. I don't get it, but that's it. It's the same reason that we say sir and we say ma'am, even though nobody born within 10 years of your birth date said sir or ma'am for any reason unless they're in the military. But that's why we do it. So there we go. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Yep, we can get that for you. You can use the customer's first name because we're striving for a casual competence. We want people to come into the service center and feel like they know what's going on, they know what we do, and they feel comfortable that we do our job well. So the lovely Kimberly walks into Papillion, And she says, "Sweet mother of Abraham Lincoln, if I walked into the front of this store and looked in the back, the front says casual competence. The back says we're going to throw it in a blender and hope it comes out without any scratches. But we'll get it fixed for you." And somehow you do manage to get it fixed. But if I look back there or I go back there, that as a customer does not inspire confidence. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're a bunch of guys and, it's a tech shop and, we keep it relatively clean, with the tools laying around a little bit and everyone, whatever. He said, "No, that's done. That's over." And so we literally half filled the dumpster full of stuff that we could throw away. And, all the tools are in the toolboxes now and stuff. And everyone's like, "Well, don't move that. I know exactly where that's at." They kept telling you, "Well, I know it looks disorganized to you." This is the classic guy line. "I know it looks disorganized to you, but I know where everything is. So if you clean it and move everything and organize it, I'm going to have to spend all this time trying to find stuff. So just leave it alone, right?" And she's like, "No, sir, I've been married for 14 years. That line no longer works on me." And she starts moving everything. So anyway, but she's smart about it, right? So she goes about our shipping and receiving center, where we ship out laptops and stuff, like the gentleman who's sending his computer in for us to fix the hard drive. When we ship it back to him, we'll ship it from there. So we're getting all this stuff in, and the boxes are on a shelf now, and then the bubble wrap is hanging from the rack, and everything looks really cool, right? But she's listening while she's doing it. And she counts no less than 5 times. One of the guys said to one of the other guys, "Hey, have you seen this? I don't know where that's at." And she's like, "Mm-hmm, yeah, mm-hmm." And so then, the next time she's moving stuff, the guy's like, "Don't move that. I won't know where it's at." She says, "You don't know where anything's at now. I've heard you the last 5 times you've asked somebody. You asked him, where's this thing? I don't know where it's at. If everything had a place and everything was in its place, how much time do you waste every day?" She says, "There's a lot enough that I can hear. How much time do you waste every day looking for stuff that's not put away? I bet if you had all that time back," and everyone's like, "Oh, all right, you can move it now. Just okay, whatever, And so then everybody kind of gives her this look, and she's like, "Was it you, or was it kind of an adversarial feel in there today?" And I'm like, I didn't notice. So it's kind of fun. So the Papillion Service Center, we're constantly thinning now. So it's like, okay, do we need to keep this? Do we need to keep that? One of the things that we are going to be doing when we do the move from Papillion, though, is we have a lot of weird stuff in Papillion that we normally wouldn't sell because we don't do used equipment. We don't do refurbished equipment. Because it's just a nightmare to do. And even if you tell a customer it's got a 90-day warranty and no more, no less, after 90 days, there's no warranty, and they get it for half price, and it's a great deal, and they get a great deal on it, inevitably, something goes wrong 6 months, a year down the road, and they bring it back in and they say, "Well, if I knew I was buying a piece of junk, even at half price, I wouldn't have bought it." And you're like, ugh. So, for example, I have a 2014 holiday special laptop. Works great. Perfect. It's got 8 gigs of RAM in it. It's got a 4th generation i7, so it's 3 generations old. i7 processor. It's got a 1 terabyte rotating disk hard drive. I could put it up on eBay and sell it for like $900 and be done with it. But I always hear from customers who are like, "I need a new computer, but something." And it's like, this thing, I mean, it's in decent shape. I mean, we used it for an on-site computer. I used it for my personal computer for a little while. It's in great shape. It was treated respectfully. Everything looks great on it. Everything works great on it. The only reason I was using it as the streaming computer when we started doing the Facebook streaming here, the only reason I got rid of it is because that 4th generation processor just couldn't keep up with commenting on Facebook, reading Facebook, doing the video feed, doing the audio feed, as well as all the tabs and everything else. It just couldn't keep up. So I had to get something that had a 7th generation processor in it. But for somebody who's using it for home use or even very light gaming use, it's got a separate video card in it. It's awesome. So I'm like, what do I do with this? I mean, I can sell it it's a $1,500 computer 3 years ago, so it's not worth $1,500 now, obviously, like $600. I can put it up on the specials page and see if it sells in Schrock, but it's used, and we don't do that. We have when we closed down ARN had a beautiful Canon laser printer. Works perfectly. Nothing wrong with it. We don't need laser printers at Schrock. We're moving everything over to color printers so that when we print your invoices, they're in color. Because, that's what you expect from a service leader. Color on your invoice. We have this. It's copies, faxes, scans, the whole bit. Originally a $500 Canon printer, good for office use. It's got about 10,000 prints under its lifetime belt, how much is that worth? You know, $50, $100, $150, I don't know. So we have all this stuff in Papillion that we're hanging on to. Some of it because it was, you know, we keep a holiday special laptop around in case we ever need a part from it to fix somebody under warranty. Well, the 2014 models now are going to all fall out of warranty this year. So why are we and we can buy the parts now pretty inexpensively because they're old. So why are we keeping a perfectly functional unit around that we could, you know, offload and turn into, you know, it's cash, it's sitting on our shelf. Why are we doing that? So I guess if you guys want to comment on Facebook here, or you can Facebook message Schrock or email Schrock and let me know if you're interested in something like that. You know, maybe we can work something out for somebody who's like, I wouldn't want to put this out over the general radio because everybody jumps on the special price or special deal, never thinking of the consequences that, boy, if this blows up in my face, if the hard drive goes bad for whatever reason in 6 months, I don't have a warranty. And then, of course, they don't buy the warranty because the whole reason that they're buying the computer cheap is to save money, so they don't buy the warranty. So, yeah, whatever. So if somebody's interested in something like that, you can post a comment. So now's the time to put questions up there. If you have them up on Facebook.com, write the comment here. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up this Father's Day edition of the Aftershock. Mary writes, the lovely Kimberly needs to listen to Summer helping on the phone. Summer is not real helpful. 2 out of 3 calls. Oh, wow. All right, Mary, I'll talk to her about that. But yeah, shoot me an email, Mary, and let me know if there's anything specific that this is part of the problem. Summer is a front desk, right? And so when we hire our front desk, we purposely hire people who do not have technical backgrounds. The reason we do that is because our customers don't have technical backgrounds. So sometimes we need someone to interface between my incredibly capable guys in the back, who we do try to hire guys who speak English. When I say English, I mean like speak like a normal person, not like speak English as opposed to Indian or something, or Hindu. Indian's not a language. Hindu, or Hindi. But anyway, I digress. So we have tech speakers back here, and we have English speakers on the front desk. And eventually what happens is that front desk person becomes more and more educated on the technical aspects, because when they're not doing anything on the front desk, we pull them into the back and say, this is a maintenance checkup. This is how you do a maintenance checkup. These are all the parts of a maintenance checkup. Then when it comes time for them to actually do a maintenance checkup or to sell one up at the front desk, or tell if a customer says, why is it important that I get maintenance? Summer will be uniquely able to describe why in plain English terms without the technical jargon. So sometimes when she gets a call asking for, technical help that's more than like level 1 tech support, she will try she tries to help. She really does. Summer is amazing, and she's incredibly intelligent. She tries to help, but if she doesn't know the answer or something, she might have to dish it off to one of the guys. So Summer's not really there to be a tech helper. She can do it in many cases, especially if the guys are busy. But if you're not getting the answer that you want from Summer or from any of my employees, always ask for somebody else. If you feel like, sometimes you just don't gel with people. I've got customers who always call and they want to work with Dylan. And I've got customers who always call and want to work with Robert or Kyle or Kevin. Or Summer. I have customers that always call and want to work with Amber. Amber is the front desk in Papillion. She's out for hip surgery the next couple of weeks, but she won't be there. But bottom line is, I want to make sure that you always get the help that you need and the level of service that you expect. So if you ever feel like you're not getting that, don't be afraid to let me know. I'd appreciate it if you didn't put a Facebook review up about that, but you can always let me know directly if there's a reason you'd give us a bad review. No, seriously, let me know, because it's something that, we don't throw people under the bus for service mistakes. We don't fire people. It's akin to shooting your generals. If they make a mistake on the battlefield, well, great, the next guy's leaving less capable. He's going to make even more mistakes. Wouldn't it have been better just to have this good general learn from the mistake and then not repeat it? And that's what we try to do at Schrock. But if I don't know about the mistakes, I can't make sure that they get re-educated, if you know what I mean. All right, off topic. Who is the most reliable spinning drives these days? All right, Thomas. I recommend Seagate drives, and the reason I recommend them is the reliability is all within. There's no statistical significance between the reliability. Among the least reliable, I would probably put the Toshiba drives, not because they don't fail any more often when you first get them. It's after years and years and years they have a liquid suspended bearing that dries out and then they stop working. But all the other drives, any hard drive, you're going to be shocked. Hard drives are designed to last about 2 years. That's the expected mechanical lifespan of a hard drive under perfect conditions. If it lasts 2 years, it's done its job and it's time to be replaced. That's why Drive Advisor is so important. That didn't used to be the case back in the day. Some of those old hard drives that we get on recycles, the 80 gig hard drives, they're still running now, and they were built like in 2000. So, but the newer drives, don't expect your 2 terabyte external hard drive to last years and years and years and years. It just doesn't happen anymore. That's why Drive Advisor is so important. So I recommend Seagate. The reason I recommend Seagate is they are the absolute easiest to recover data from. So if you ever get stuck in a data loss situation and you have to send it to a data recovery lab, having it be a Seagate is going to save you a little bit of money. But that's statistically, when we build computers, we buy Western Digital hard drives and we buy Seagate hard drives. We prefer Seagate. If we can't get Seagate for some reason or the price is wonky, we'll go with Western Digital. We don't go with any of the other brands, the HGST, which is owned by Western Digital, or the Toshiba brands, things like that. We don't mess with those, but we will use Seagate or Western Digital. All right, next up, I bet somebody in Bellevue that lost a home needs a free computer, even in 2014. Blake, that's a great point. I should have done. What was I thinking? I should have done something on the radio about that. We normally do at least a data recovery special where we're willing to either do it for free or do it for a much reduced cost. If you know somebody in Bellevue that was impacted by this storm, and the last thing on their mind right now if their house got blown away is their computer. But if you know somebody who needs some help with that situation, we'll do it on a case-by-case basis, but have them call the service center, have them bring it in, and then have them let the staff know that the computer has water damage as a result of the storm, for example. And then we can go in there and see what we can do to help them out. A lot of the computers that get water damage can't be fixed, or they can be fixed, but they corrode eventually. They last for like a year and then they die. So you want to make sure that you get that into the shop, and then we can get the data off the hard drive while the hard drive will function before it dies. But yeah, like where were you an hour ago, man? That's a shake and bake. I was so wrapped up in my own power loss, I wasn't thinking about anybody else. So selfish. All right. Let's see, my phone is buzzing. That means OPPD has it down to 19. Oh, the lovely Kimberly reports OPPD has it down to 19,000 without power now. They made progress overnight, so that is good. All right, any other questions before we wrap it up today? All right, Darren, I have your security. Can I leave the computer on or shut it off shut it down when I get off? You can leave it on all the time, Darren, or you can turn it off, your preference. I would leave it on all the time. That way it gets all of its updates and things. It prevents little question marks from coming up on your endpoint and stuff. Just leave it on all the time. I've been getting some questions lately about Norton Core. You're getting these little pop-ups saying, hey, check out Norton Core. They want to sell you a wireless router that uses a different DNS service than Cox or CenturyLink or Time Warner or Charter or whoever you have, Spectrum. So basically, if you try to go to a website that's going to infect your computer, it'll block it from the router. It also gives Symantec complete control to monitor every single thing you browse on the computer. Right now, your internet service provider has that capability. If you get Norton Core, Norton will have that. Symantec will have that capability. Honestly, the protections offered by Norton Core are minimal. I would not buy it. It's not worth the money, in my opinion. I've been asked about it a lot this week. I meant to talk about that on the air too, and I didn't get to that either. All righty. Any other questions? Last call for questions. There's a time delay, so I'm going to fill for about a minute here while I wait for the last call for questions that come in. Let's see. Did I miss anybody here? Who has the most reliable spinning drives? Bellevue. Cool. Security. Nope, I didn't miss any. All right. Question last call going once. Question last call going twice. Oh, sold. All right, no more questions. All right. Happy Father's Day, guys, out there. We're going to wrap it up today. We'll be back again next Sunday for another show. Also, we'll be on the Omaha Morning Blend tomorrow. It's beautiful. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet tomorrow. My guess is we're going to talk something about power damage to computers. We already did our surge protector sale, so thankfully everybody had their surge protector. If you haven't picked up your surge protectors yet, please pick them up. They hang out in our service center, and they take up a lot of room. All right. Thank you, Winston. I appreciate it. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you again. Morning Blend, 9:35 tomorrow morning if you want to watch on KMTV Channel 3. Otherwise, we'll post the video to Facebook. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great day.
How many viewers